Hey guys, Adam Araby here with David Debt Dealer Marquez. This is a brand new series I want to bring you guys where I go and I train with some fighters at, either their gym or with coaches like David himself here, who's both a fighter and a coach, and also running his own gym here as well at Buena Park Martial Arts and West Coast Fight Academy.
Yeah, West Coast Muay Thai Fight Club. It's just something that I'm trying to kind of start up myself too. So
Mhm.
we're both working on something here.
Yeah, man. And, we just got done at your open mat here. I got to take a bit of a lesson from you in Dutch blocking and get to learn a little bit of your style and even got to move around, man. So, the one thing I want to do, like I said, with this series is really get an in-depth look into each fighter's approach to the fight game. And one thing that I really enjoy about you is you kind of run everything yourself a little bit, man. You're very detail oriented. I noticed in both your approach of the prep to the fight game and that of your strength and conditioning, your meal prep, as well as scheduling just your overall workouts and technique work, as well as going and being taken upon yourself to cross train at different places and learn from different coaches as well,
Mhm.
and just give yourself an insight to the game, man. So let's get a little bit more into that. I want to get more into, let's say, the prep of, a fight for you, man. Let's start off with that nutrition, man. I always know, and you're a big advocate of, learn to cook, learn to do it
Yeah, dude.
yourself,
Yeah.
be aware of the nutrition and what you're making and what goes into your body. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Well, shouts out to being a mama's boy. It ain't always bad. My mom hooked me up with some cooking skills early on in my life, and that's really just transcended into as I got older, I wanted to learn how to eat healthy and fuel my body for what I do, and yeah, it's helped me out a lot. I like cooking. It's another way for me to be creative, but it really does help me cut out a lot of the middlemen for, I guess just meal prepping and like I said, fueling my body. I can do it all myself. So that's one big thing for getting ready for a fight that, obviously helps you take it to the next step. If you're eating like shit, you're most likely going to perform like shit. So eat good, perform good.
Yeah, now I gotta ask, obviously I just stated your whole resume, man.
Yeah, for
Busy
real.
guy.
For real, yeah, dude,
Incredibly
yeah.
busy guy. Like that's the part that I find the most astounding is where do you find the time? Obviously I'm assuming that does come with discipline, but how do you kind of fight the temptation of just like every other fighter, not to discredit any meal prep company out there, fully respect to them. There are some fantastic and great ones out there, but how do you kind of keep from that temptation of just, oh, I'll just buy this many meal prep and everything, but are able to keep that discipline to, no, I'm going to do it myself and keep an eye on that myself?
Yeah, that type of mentality kind of rolls over to so much more, like you stated, than just cooking. I don't have a strength and conditioning coach. I don't have a cardio or plyometrics coach. Uh, I do have, my crews and my fight coaches that, do help me out, but I am at a level where I know how to fight already, so they really just tighten up the game for me. But like you said, it is very much so discipline. And I don't know, maybe it's the chip on my shoulder that I just want to let everybody know that I can do it, or like let
Hmm.
everybody else know that you can do it too. Like if I can do all of these things, make the food for myself, get my ass to the gym and make sure that I lift the weights and do the box jumps and ball slams and sprints and long mile runs. And if I can get if I can get myself to do all that shit, then the people that watch me do it can at least convince themselves that, hey, I can at least do one of those things. I can at least get to the gym or start eating healthy or do that, So like I said, it's kind of like a chip on my shoulder where I want to let everybody know, like, hey, I can fucking do it. I don't need all the extra help. I can physically get myself to do it with, hard work and discipline.
Now, since you are the mastermind of your meal prep, let's go into what actually are you intaking to fuel your body? Is there kind of an indifference of like out of camp diet you have versus in camp diet?
Out of camp diet requires a lot of beer. A lot of beer, dude. Yeah, I drink a lot of beer. And that's I do
True
drink.
Mexican fighter,
Yeah, yeah, I
you know?
do drink throughout my camp too, but I do limit it back. Man, it's just nice to work hard, train real fucking hard, and sometimes have a cold one after. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I'm not doing that shit after being a lazy fuck all day either. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot of hard work before, and I think I deserve a beer. You know what I mean?
Earned
But
carbs.
yeah, exactly, earned carbs. But yeah, man, the fuel that I'm ingesting during fight camp is it's pretty basic. You know, that rich piana shit, chicken and rice and vegetables. It might taste like shit, but if you know how to fucking cook, you can make it a lot of different ways taste really good. Chicken, rice, and vegetables. You can do it Asian style, you can do it Mexican style, like fajitas, you know, if you have the bell pepper. There's so many ways that you can spice up the simple shit. And at the end of the day, like I said, the good fuel that you do and put in your body, it does make a difference in how you perform.
Didn't I see you recently, like cooking like a ribeye or something? Like you had some thick chunk of steak that you made this crazy looking consomme with it too. That just looked absolutely fire.
Yeah,
you know?
man, that was some birria. So yeah, I do mess around with my Mexican culture a little bit in the kitchen and stuff like that, but I really try to keep it like a wide open range. Like I said, that's kind of like my different side of creativity is cooking and stuff. But yeah, I think that kind of transcends over into fighting too. I don't really like to focus on one thing. I like to work my switch stance and use my legs and come in hard with the hands and switch it up a bit. So
Now, you do fight for 127, you know, and in that range. But one thing that is very obvious when looking at you is that you're shredded, dude.
yeah, thank you.
And going back to, you know, that, you know, strength and conditioning, you know, is there a certain protocol and program, again, that you're adhering to out of camp? Because some fighters, they do like to put on a little bit of muscle between fights, to try and pack on as much just power and mass as they can so that when they are in fight camp and they are cutting weight and there is a bit of muscle depletion, they aren't losing that much.
Um, Dude, I just fucking love this shit. Like, I love to be fucking fit and athletic and healthy. And at the end of the day, you know, like GSP says, you know, he doesn't lift weights to fight good. He lifts weights to look good. You know what I mean? So I like to look good too. And at the end of the day, you know, lifting weights and having that strength and conditioning does make you hit a little bit harder. It does, you know, having thicker quads might make you be able to withstand a kick a little bit better. So at the end of the day, I do see the benefits that I am getting out of it for the fight game. But at the end of the day, I lift weights to look good, and you know, looking good makes me feel good. And when I feel good, I want to perform really fucking well too. So, you know, it might be a little bit egotistical, but I lift weights to look good.
You know, it's the truth though. You know, you look good, you feel good, you do good. You
Yeah.
know, confidence breeds everything. You know, I remember I heard a Roy Jones Jr. story where he's talking about one of the best boxers he ever saw was a guy who necessarily wasn't the most skilled, but was super confident. And he was messing up everybody in the gym just because he was so confident. It just messed with dudes' heads, you know. And these were great athletes. You know, these were the top level amateur boxers like in the country and in that area at the time of Roy Jones' career. But like we said, you know, it's confidence is such a thing.
Yeah.
It kind of brings me to my next point, which is what I want to get into, was the actual day I got to spend with you here, man. Like, first off, I want to say thank you for having your doors open to me.
More than welcome.
You know,
dude.
both myself and my boy G behind the camera. You know, shout out to Gamal Darwish. Follow him on Instagram. IM.DPG. Hire him for all your DP needs, man. That's my cameraman, my road dog. Completely, you know, welcoming environment, man. Like, super in depth, you know, even just in the little bit of drilling and technique that we went to. And, you know, it can be, you know, as when coming from a different gym and going into an unknown place, you know, I always try to be the most respectful, but like anybody else, you know, it can be a little bit unknown. It can be a little bit scary. I don't know what I'm walking into in terms of the people and the guys I'm about to train with. But everyone's super inviting, super controlled, man. Like, really great environment. And so I want to ask you how you cultivate that environment, that culture in your gym.
The biggest thing that I try to always push in my gym, you know, and I feel like a lot of other gyms do too. So I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm, you know, some special, you know, gym saying this, but respect, dude. I definitely, you know, try to let everybody know that like respect is like the biggest thing in here. Whether it's respect from, you know, student to student, or from coach to student, or from, you know, grandmaster to coach, or to whatever it is at all levels. You know, I break myself down and let everybody know, like, hey, I might be the guy that's coaching you guys or this and that, but I'm not better than you as a human in any way. And you guys aren't better than me as a human in any way either. We're all pretty much at the same level, respect each other. And honestly, it's done pretty well for me as in terms of being a coach, being able to maintain the different types of people that come in here. Because like you said, going into a different gym, there's going to be different people. And same thing with at your home gym. There's the nice guy, there's the hard ass, there's the quiet one, and to take all those different walks of life and try to get them to go all the same way, that is kind of hard. But with respect, all that other shit kind of just flows out. And just like, well, we know one thing for sure is respect. I know that this guy is doing the exact same shit I'm doing. And at the end of the day, hard work fucking too. I let these guys know that, yeah, we can be fun, nice guys and welcoming and friendly and like I am. That's why some people hate me, because I'm so fucking friendly and I'm so fucking fun. But at the end of the day, you got to be like that because you love that shit. But I'm a hard fucking worker and I love this shit too. So yeah, we're nice. Yeah, we're friendly. Yeah, we're respectful. But, hard fucking work. We know that the guy next to us is working fucking hard and wants this shit just as bad as us. So when the guy to my left sees the guy to the right doing it and so forth and so on, they're really going to be like, oh, well, why am I going to hate on that guy? Why he's working just as hard as I am. I respect that work. I respect that guy. And that's kind of how I keep that and keep everybody in line as well as myself. Obviously there's wackadoo people that come in here randomly and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, respect is what kind of like ties it all together here.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of what bred your guys' camaraderie here, because almost immediately after we were done sparring, like you saw, like we were all, just everyone in the gym kind of talking, exchanging stories, kind of talking about what we all get out of training, and even just kind of normal guy locker room talk.
The shit,
yeah, exactly. And that's something that, I really want to exemplify here at Bonaparte Martial Arts, that, you're really creating, I think, a cool environment here. And that's the one thing that really kind of got me interested in following you and your career, man. Like, I still remember being at Fighters Rep and seeing this guy who's all smiles about to go to war with another dude. He's just like, hey, man, like all like energy bouncing about at the weigh-ins, like, we heard, in your last fight, Mario Corona, where every other fighter is miserable, and you see this one guy who's smiling, bouncing off the walls, acting as if he didn't cut weight at all.
Yeah. Like I say, hey, that's another thing. If you guys eat healthy and you do all that shit, like the weight cut is easy, and you don't have to fucking suffer. You can be a happy guy like me.
I'm about to say, diet hard to cut easy. Yeah. This is something that, honestly, I think recently should be really, really stressed in the fight game, because at least personally, I've seen recently, that issue with weight cutting, where you do see a lot of guys, even in the amateurs, not be able to make it to their fight, where you guys aren't getting paid per se, but you're draining yourself, taking the same amount of damage as a pro.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
And I kind of want to get your opinion on that, because I think you're at least one of the better examples of a guy who goes against these kind of crazy cuts. That I just don't think are that beneficial, especially in the amateurs.
Yeah, man. These guys that are doing like 25, pound weight cuts, and it's like almost all water.
Same day weigh-ins.
Yeah, same day weigh-ins. Like, man, that is so draining. If you guys know, just in simple, mechanics of the body, you need water in you. You know what I mean? Your organs need water. And so, your brain needs water, dude. Your whole body needs water. So, if you're draining, 50% of your water to get to that weight, hey, man, you're going to make it, and that's cool. You're going to be able to intake some of that water, but how deeply hydrated are your organs, your brain going to be? So I definitely, don't really push my fighters to cut that much weight, and I don't really cut that much weight myself at all. I fight pretty much natural. So to hear people say like, oh, how much you weigh on off season, like how like 140, like 145, and I'm like, I look that big? And some people are like, yeah, you look like about like 135, 140, and I'm like, bro, I walk around at like 130 flat, like that's it. Like to get down to 127, I take a piss, you know what I mean? And I don't really say that it's cheating in a way, but you know, these guys that are cutting like 40, 50 pounds to get to a lighter weight it's cool, but I don't know. I kind of feel like they're dodging people their size or their weight. So
I
not to
feel
shit on those people, but yeah, I like to fight near my weight just to let everybody know that it's like this is the natural me. I'm not taking any enhancers. I'm not trying to get any edge off on anybody. I'm not trying to be the bigger guy in there. I'm just trying to be the better fighter in there overall. So that, like, once again, I feel like that's another reason why I don't advocate for big weight cuts. Is because it's like a chip on my shoulder as well too. I don't want to be like, oh, I had to cut 45 pounds and I beat this little guy. It's like, no, I'm fighting guys that are
yeah.
probably bigger than me, you know, cutting more weight or something like that. But I'm naturally just sitting around at that weight. And I just want to show everybody that it's not, you know, so much about cutting the weight and all that stuff. It's just, you know, if you're going to beat that dude's ass, you're a better fighter than them. You know, that's how I think. But
No, like I said, to kind of build off that point, you do see where, you know, and I think almost it's an advantage to like to have more of your method personally, because you do look bigger than some of these guys, but you're able to just stay at your fight weight. So your body, I would imagine, is naturally getting bigger while remaining at that fight weight, not getting depleted where each time you're cutting, your body wants to put that mass back on. So it's and then now it's becoming expectant of being trained at this time, so now I got to recover twice as much because otherwise I'm going to keep sending myself in those deadly levels.
yeah,
You know, and I think, you know, you can see like just again from your build, age, and physique, like I think that's a better methodology just overall. You know, you're in a striking sport as well. You know, this is one where the more durability and the more hits you can take, the better I think it is the advantage.
yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. And yeah, you know, you can even see it in my last fight. You know, Mariano Corona said that he has to cut weight and stuff like that. And this isn't to talk shit on him in any way. You know, he went out there, we did the dance, and I got respect from, you know, for at least fighting up against me. But I was even kind of surprised at how much bigger I looked than him inside of the ring, just because I was just already naturally hydrated, and then, you know, I got a little bit more hydrated after the weigh-in days, and he probably was really sucked up and still was trying maybe kind of hard to rehydrate his body to get back up to that size. So I was kind of surprised at how much bigger I looked than him in the ring. But I think that does kind of go back to, like I said, the dieting and the weight cutting. And yeah, you guys have seen my fights before. I've been touched on the chin, but I've never really been hurt, wobbled, or freaked out, or really, really dazed or knocked out. And I really, really, really do have to say that that's definitely because of my brain hydration, like just, you know, not depleting myself of
Yeah, I
that.
was about to say that it's easy to go back just to that Yadir Perez fight, man,
Yeah.
where you got dropped early on, came back, rallied back for a high head kick knockout.
Yeah.
Man.
Hey, he's a savage
was-
too, Yadir. You know,
yeah.
he fights out of a good team and stuff like that. And he really came. I mean, what was it? I think it was like 15 seconds. He dropped me in the first fucking round. Like, he brought it, you know, but at the end of the day, he's a bigger guy than me. I think he cut a little bit more weight. So when I did touch him on his brain, it rattled him, and he probably just wasn't able to recover from that. Maybe because of the brain hydration, or maybe just because I hit that fucking hard. But who knows? Who knows?
I don't know. I think your last performance proved a lot, man.
Yeah.
Because I do want to give props to Mariano Corona, man. I've advocated for that guy since watching his first fight at
Yeah, he's a
Fighters
good
Rep,
fighter.
man.
He's a
Like,
good fighter.
in my opinion, he was the dark horse of the division for the longest time.
Most
man.
definitely. He was
I
somebody
really
that was sit on.
always thought like he never got his respect that he really should have been given. And you know, tough guy, man. And then when he finally knocked out Ian Holloway, I felt like he finally got some of the respect he deserved.
Yeah.
Like, man, and I got to ask you, and going back and hitting on that last part of that mental side, preparing for a fight, man, because you knew you were fighting a tough opponent, man. You knew you were fighting a guy that had experience at the U.S. Muay Thai Open, that had fought across the country and through different places against different opponents and different styles, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember at the weigh-ins, I think that was the most intense I've seen either gentleman. That is the like one of the more intense weigh-ins I got to see in a long time, man.
Yeah.
Where I walked up to you after, you know, and you know, Mariano was just like full, just stone face locked in the whole time, like ready to just do his thing, get off and prove a point, you know. And you were ready to defend your point, you know, where I think you put it perfectly, where Mariano was out to prove that he could fuck you up, and then you were out to prove that Mario couldn't fuck you up.
Yeah.
And obviously, point proven, man. Like, it was an absolutely incredible shutout performance and a true, I'd say, transformation from your last fight to now. Even just your style wise, man, you were more defensively sound in that one, man. So to kind of take me through, what was it kind of like having to prep through that and kind of having a little bit of a grudge match and some pressure to a fight?
Yeah. Right away, just to say, he made it so much more of a grudge match than I really took it as. Like, I just looked at him as just like another guy, like, yo, let's just go out there and fucking bang, bro. Like, let's just fight, you know, because that's really what I'm there to do. Like, I definitely approach this with a fucking Mike Tyson mentality of like, yeah, I'm a bad motherfucker and I want to go out there and prove everybody that like I'm the best at my weight class and that's what I want to do. But when it comes time to be in the ring or weighing with that guy or whatever, I could fucking care less about the person. Like, I don't have any emotion towards him. I don't have any hate or love or resentment or anything towards him, you know, any remorse even, you know, it's just you're an obstacle that I'm going to overcome, you know? And but I was talking to one of my good friends, keep an eye out for him. The homie Jacob, he was training with us today, but we were having a conversation yesterday about it, and I've just been so blessed. I don't know if it was my upbringing or if the fight gods fucking look upon me from the skies and they bless me with it, but yeah, man, I've just been so blessed with having such a calm mentality with just the way I approach fights and camps and people. Like, even Yadir Perez was supposed to be the guy that was gonna fucking do me in, you know, out of Spider Muay Thai. He's been in the game longer than you. He's done MMA and he's done Muay Thai.
Camo belt holder.
And he had a camo belt and he's in kickboxing now and he finished a guy with the barrage of punches like right before me, you know what I mean? So he was supposed to be like my kryptonite again, and I showed everybody that I could beat that. And once again with Marion and then with Nathan again, it's like, oh well, he's a champion of another promotion. He's a champion of a, you know, MMA division, and he's a champion of Royal Combat, and you know, he's coming off of a win off of somebody that I beat before too. So, you know, that he was supposed to be the next guy that was supposed to clear me out, and I cleared him. And then same thing with Mariano Corona. It was supposed to be the guy who slept Ian Holloway in one round, and David didn't look so hot in that last fight, so he's gonna close out David. And the Death Dealer had to show everybody that they fucking can't do it, you know. And like I said, I think I'm just blessed. I'm able to stay so calm and really take in what people think is fear, you know. And John Jones says it best, you know, if you're feeling that, you know, don't give into it. Don't let it suck you in. Don't let it overpower you, you know. Be the driving force. Take that in and be like, man, I'm excited. This isn't fear. This is excitement. This is your subconscious telling you, man, you've been training so much for this one performance. Just go out there and do it, you know? And that's my mentality for every fight. There is no fear. There is just, fuck, you've trained so much. You trained so hard. This is what you do every single day. You beat up people up. You get beat up. You defend yourself. You make people defend them. This is your daily shit. Why is it going to be any different in a ring in front of, you know, a couple thousand people? It's really not, you know. And I'm just blessed for that.
No, absolutely. And I think like what you're really getting at here is that you have a great ability to stay present.
Yeah,
just in your daily life, man. Like I said, you know, we're out here, we're training, you know, you could see even when you're talking to a crowd of people, you know, you're not bothered by it. You know, that was one thing I found really impressive just in kind of watching you kind of coach everybody. Like, you're so outgoing and so comfortable in your own skin, man. Like, I personally recently got to coach my first kind of sparring class, man. It was such an eye-opening experience, and I had a newfound respect for anybody who's a great coach, because it is intimidating to walk in front of a group of people, have to command them, have to show them a technique and show them that, hey, it's proper, and, you know, I know what I'm talking about, you know. And then on top of it too, like, you know, we're both relatively young guys. I'm 24, you're
Yeah.
28.
And we look
like,
young as fuck too, you know what I mean? So you might have some old people looking at you like, bro, what is this fucking youngster telling me this for?
Yeah.
You know? So it is intimidating. It is for sure.
Yeah. And so that's one thing that I find really, really, really impressive about you is that you have this ability to stay present. And I think if you just kind of touched on it, it's just always kind of been inherent. And then the fact that you just embrace it,
Mhm.
you know, and did that just come from a young age or was that a learned behavior?
Uh, I don't know. Shouts out to my mom again. You know, she was always an encouraging mother. You know, she always kind of just like, yeah, if that's what you want to do, fucking do it. You know, try to
Yeah.
go for it. You know.
Beautiful.
So you know that was always like a blessing again too, having like a cool mom like that. But you know, we didn't always have the money for things like that, so it was
Yeah.
like, oh, do it, but like we might not be able to afford it. You know, so
Yeah.
that was just always me just wanting to just go after it and find any way to do it and have the confidence to say, well, fuck, if like I can do it, if I, you know, I can do it, you know. And yeah, I think it was just, I don't know, I was born with it. I just,
That blue collar mentality, it seems like, you
yeah,
know.
I just want to get after it, do it, you know.
Now, you know, you are taking on new ventures, being a coach, you know, and trying to start your own gym and, you know, kind of being able to train people and kind of start this whole thing. We were talking a little bit of your history, man.
Hmm.
I always see this one lady just kind of mysteriously following you
Yeah.
around, you know, and I had to ask, like, who is this person, man? Like, who's this mysterious figure that's always following David Marquez around, you
Yeah.
know?
So that is Miss Ferrer. She is the actual owner of this location, the Gym Buena Park Martial Arts Academy. Uh Her father is Grandmaster Pelly Ferrer, and he is the Grandmaster of Ferrer Academy and has belted numerous amounts of black belts. One of them being Eddie Cha. So if you guys know in the fight game, you know, he's coached Korean Zombie for quite a while, Francisco Rivera. Now he's over at Fight Ready with Henry Cejudo, Demetrius Johnson, all those guys, all those big names over at Fight Ready. He has a hand in them with their stand up and stuff. So the lineage rolls from there. And, you know, Eddie Cha coached my head coach, which is Coach Johnson. You guys have seen him in a couple of my fights in the corners of Fighters Rep and stuff like that before, too. But he coached him, and so forth and so on. As time went on, he took a step back from coaching, having his family. And yeah, I was blessed, you know, basically becoming the head coach and leader of this whole side of things through my grandmaster, Pelly Ferrer. But yeah, it's so amazing to be a part of this lineage and to really get back to the roots now that I am the head coach of this gym, the only person who's, you know, above me now are my crews, my black belts, and my grandmasters. So learning from the direct source, I think, is another reason why I've looked so sharp in my last fight too, is just because I'm learning from, like I said, the direct source where
Yeah.
everybody else is learning from now, and it is, yeah, it's helped my game tenfold. But the mysterious lady is Miss Ferrer. She's the owner of the gym here.
Shout out to her, man, and
Shouts
shout out
out
to
to
Buena
Miss
Park Martial
Ferrer.
Arts, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. I want to get a little bit more into the actual training itself, man.
Mm.
We got to move around and share a couple rounds
Hell yeah, it
together,
was fun as
man.
fuck. This guy's
That
slick.
was, yeah, I tried my best. I tried to prove at least that I'm not full of shit and I know what I'm talking about. you
Yeah,
know?
dude,
Like,
it's nice to have a guy who talks about shit and he knows what he's talking about, not just some fucking goober who watches shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's okay too. Don't
yeah,
get me wrong, that's okay too. But if you actually do the shit, you actually do the dance, newfound respect for the
I'm
people
about to
too. That's
say,
dope as fuck.
and what I want to get into is it gives you a different insight. You know,
Mhm.
I want to talk about the X and O's. You know, I
Mhm.
want to talk about the X and O's of your game, man.
Mhm.
One thing I found really impressive getting to move around with you that, you know, obviously I expected you being a lighter weight and I've seen you perform, man, is speed.
Mhm.
The speed is just great, man.
Mhm.
It's just wild, man. Was that something you kind of developed again just through strength conditioning and thousands of hours, or were you always kind of just an athletic, kind of speedy guy?
Most definitely always like an athletic, speedy guy. I was in gymnastics when I was like a young kid, so I feel like that was kind of like the jump start of like my athleticism, wanting to be like a crazy, weird, freaky fucking monkey man, athletic wise. Like I wanted to climb on shit. I
I'm
wanted
about to
to
say you were probably that kid climbing every tree, everything,
monkey
jumping off
bars,
of
yeah,
everything.
doing backflips off swings and shit like that. Fucking snorting pop rocks and stuff, dude. Yeah, I was a psycho little fucking kid.
Giving your parents a heart attack.
Dude, yeah, I was literally climbing on my roofs by like 3 years old, and my mom was tripping out. So I wasn't.
Oh no.
Yeah, a lot of people think I'm all nice, and I'm a nice guy, but I had a rough upbringing, and I'm a fucking psycho at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Like I'm a
man.
fucking lunatic. I'm crazy. I fucking have a lot of fucking energy. I'm wild. I'm goofy, and I like to express even more so. So that being said, yeah, just being a wild, crazy fucking kid, just helped me be so athletic. I always wanted to do something: running, sprinting, climbing, punching, kicking. And yeah, being lighter, I feel like I have fast twitch muscles. Maybe so, but at the end of the day, too, I do have to give it to my training. I train fucking hard to be as explosive and as fast and powerful as I am. So hours do count too.
Yeah, and one thing that I like was really impressed as we were moving around is just for one, defensive IQ, man. Like that was something that's like every time I was moving, you kept switching to a new guard. And that was the really, really tricky part. It was like every time I got to figure out one type of guard, you switch to a new defense. You know, and I think again, that's something that I really thought and really saw highlighted in your last performance. You know, because I do have to admit, man, when you first came on the scene, you were a bit of a brawler, man.
Yeah.
Which is why you were exciting, man.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
makes great fights. Like this kid, again, got a chin, willing to bite down and throw
Yeah,
down.
I want to throw
man.
too, bro. I like to bang.
Yeah, but now you've become a more mature fighter, a little more willing to be in that defense, willing to go in, man. Like, what did it kind of take to kind of get to that more patient, kind of more defensive style? Was it just kind of having to let go of in the love of the action, man? Because on that second round, when we were moving around, man, I could see that little bit of that depth dealer smile when we were throwing back and forth. I was like, oh hell, I don't want to get this kid excited.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it is. Like I said, I'm a little bit fucking loony in some ways. So like, when I do feel the from another fucking opponent, or I do feel them wanting to raise the level, the competitor comes out in me, the death dealer comes out and wants to shut that shit down and just be like, yo, like, you know, I'm fucking competitive too, and I'm not gonna let you get I'm not, and it's exciting for me. It's exciting to think that somebody wants to test that in me. Because not saying that I'm some scary boogeyman in some fucking site, but like at the end of the day, like for somebody to want to, you know, have the balls to just even fight with another man, that's even cool. And then I know my skills, so when somebody wants to test that skill, it excites me because then I get to test that skill.
You're a competitor, man.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what it comes down to is you love being a competitor.
Yeah.
And that's really what came across, man. Like, it was just exciting to get to move around with you because I could see the expression too.
Yeah.
That is where I think, like I said, I come from a mixed martial arts gym, and at the end of the day, it's that term martial art. That is where it becomes the art of it, is where you do see the human emotion and the human expression in it, man.
Yeah.
Where you do see with each strike, like just even guys' facial expression is the truest form of expression of emotion, which is why I personally fell in love with this sport and all of martial arts, man. I think it's one of the highest and truest forms of just art and expression.
Yeah, I definitely do feel like fighting is the realest fucking thing. I always tell people when I'm out in the ring and everything does fade to black and I do turn into the death dealer or whatever, there is nothing else out there that I think about. I truly get to become my true self. I don't have to worry about being too abrasive or too aggressive, or I don't have to limit my skills. I don't have to pull a punch. I don't have to hold back. I truly get to embody my full form and let it go and let me express myself in every single way that I want with no limitations. But to round back to your question is, I kind of had to tame the beast in some way, you know, let him know that, you can express yourself, but don't get too in a frenzy, you know, don't let the bloodlust overpower you too much. Even though I want to taste the blood, I want to dive in and devour more. You know what I mean? I had to limit myself, and with that came clarity. You know what I mean? It helped me find the openings more. It helped me really just take the time to you know, surgically break down my opponent the way you saw in the last fight. And that's how I felt like I was. I didn't throw anything that needed to be thrown. I didn't move when I didn't need to move. Everything was very calculated and it followed through properly. But that was, like I said, kind of taming the bloodlust a bit.
Yeah, man. And that was like, and the fun part too, that again, you can just see the pure enjoyment in your face, man. Because when we were moving around, you chopped the hell out of my leg.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, and it's always fun to me, man. Like even when I'm getting beat up, man. Like when you just see like just the fun of it.
Yeah.
You know, just seeing like the smile on your face. Like every time I land a kick, I know one's coming back.
Yeah.
And I remember I like landed one on you, and you just fucking right back, and I was like, holy hell,
But
man.
you read me pretty well, though. There was one where I went to go bring a switch kick, and you got me with the good team, pushing me back. I was like, oh, I was like, you got me, you got it. So, yeah, man, it's fun.
I was just trying to survive, bro.
but still, you know exactly what we're talking about. It's like a little kid playing with a toy. Like, if you find a button that's fun for you to push, you're going to keep pushing it, right? And same thing with you. You had a good jab, you had a good teep, and you were working it well. You found your button that you like to push, and you kept pushing it, so it was nice.
So we had a quick little cut there, but getting back again into the actual training day and getting to move around, man. The other thing I was really impressed by is the fact that you have great level changes and stance switches, man. That was something that I really didn't expect. That I feel like the level switches we definitely do see in your fights, but the stance switches is something I feel like we don't really get to fully see, man. And I'm sure, as you know from the time training, like, I feel like we really, and why I really want to just keep going out and like see guys in their actual training environment, like you see 1% of a guy's arsenal. Man, if you really want to see the full extent of every move a guy and technique a guy can do, go to his gym. Go train with him, man. Like, you know, you were throwing spinning stuff at me by the end of it, man. You know, and like play the clip. One of them, you know, you just see me moving back, and I feel okay as a tall guy, and I just see you all of a sudden pushing your back at me, and all of a sudden I get a back fist to the side of my head, and I'm like, that is creative, man, you know. And you know, I guess getting back into that of that creativity and expression, you know, did that kind of come out more and more as you became more disciplined?
No, I've always been just like a wonky guy. Like I always try stuff in the gym. I'll study guys. I'll research some fighters. I'll see things at how it worked for them in that fight, in that match, in that specific, I guess, instance, and I'll apply it when I find myself in that instance, or I'll try to put myself in that area to do something. So I'm always experimental. I'm always trying to be wonky. I'm always trying to be weird. But to touch base on how you said, where, you know, you only see 1% of a guy's arsenal in the ring, it really is true. And I kind of do that purposely. You know, I don't want to give too much of my fighting style away every single time I fight. Even at my ends of my interviews, I tell people like, oh, you guys saw that, and it's one of my bread and butters, but it's like, it's only one of them. You know, I got a lot of things that I do try to hold back because I want to let it come out at the right times, and also for the right opponents. I didn't need to pull spinning shit out for the last guy. I didn't need to really work crazy fancy kicks or switch stances for that last guy, because I kind of had him dialed in. I knew that if I was just able to go right down center line, blast him with the big cross, I feel like I hit hard as fuck for my weight class. And I feel like I'm way stronger than a lot of these guys. But like I said, I didn't have to really pull out so many. I would
agree.
Yeah. I wouldn't have to pull out so many of my other things because it wasn't needed for him. And I'm lucky for that, because like I said, I kind of want to keep some things under wraps. So when I do bring him out, people are like, dude, this is a whole new fighter. Not really, but in the eyes of the masses, it looks like a whole new person, a whole new fighter. Oh, well, he's a lefty now. I thought he's traditionally orthodox or whatever. So
now, that does lead me into my next question of, a magician can't reveal his tricks, but we have been running a little long here. So I do got to ask, what is next for David Death Dealer Marquez, man? You know, just not only just in your fight career, but let's say in your coaching career, as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, and just as an overall dope personality, man.
Fuck, man, you know, I want to just keep fucking shit up in the fight world. You know what I mean? That's about it. I want to try to make a venture into MMA. I've been in the talks with UNF and stuff like that. So I'm hoping to get out to UNF and smash some faces out there. I wanna slam people on their heads. I guess I'll reveal it now, but some people don't know. But I was a varsity wrestler in high school for all 4 years, so I do have some ground game. I've mixed it up with Josh Barnett and his team for quite a while, so I did learn some traditional catch wrestling underneath him. I've been like a 10-year white belt in jiu-jitsu, so I do dabble in all martial arts, and I really want to bring it all together. So MMA is the next goal. I want to start to fuck shit up over there, but as an overall, like I said, I just want to keep fucking shit up in the fight world. Me as a coach, I want to keep producing badass motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Death Dealer is a name that I really like hold dearly, and I try to promote that style to my fighters as well too. I try to let them know, like, hey, when you're out there, this isn't a patty cake game. This isn't a game to barely win over on somebody. You know, you're going out there to beat the fuck out of somebody. You know, we don't want to be in fights. We want to be in ass whoopings. You know what I mean? We want to whoop people's ass. We don't want to be in a fight, because in fights, both people get hurt. Yeah. You know, and, you know, I think my last fight, you know, kind of showed that I wasn't in a fight. I was in a one-sided ass whooping. And that's kind of what I want to coach my fighters to do as well too, you know, is to really just take in that mentality of the Death Dealer. So create more badass fighters, stay a badass fighter, and, you know, keep meeting fucking badass people like this, and, you know, giving back to the community as much as possible.
And the last question is, the floor is yours, sir. Any shout outs you want to make?
Yo, shouts out to Adam Arabi, or Arabi.
Arabi.
I just wanted to make sure I pronounced that right. But shouts out to Adam Arabi, man. He's a fucking knowledgeable guy in the fight world, and he does awesome stuff like this, interviewing fighters and really getting to know them rather than just doing the generic, how's your camp? How's the weight cut? Yeah. What do you think you're going to do to this guy? And okay, like there's so many, you know, cookie cutter guys out there, but I feel like he's a guy who actually likes it. So shouts out to him. Shouts out to the cameraman. He's a fucking badass. He came in and did the dance today, which was awesome. You don't see too many other people like that who record stuff, but actually want to, you know, dip their toes in too. So badass, man. Follow him. Once again,
I am .dpg Gamal Darwish.
Follow him, guys. And then shouts out to my gyms, all my coaches, Buena Park Martial Arts Academy, all my crews there, you know, Crew Stephanie, Crew Vinesh, Grandmaster Frere, Crew Mark, Coach Johnson. Over at NHC, you got the Korean Pitbull, B, as I know him, but a lot of people know him as Josh. But he's another great coach over there. Shouts out to him. Shouts out to all my sparring partners over there. The Cuban Missile Crisis as well.
Upcoming
Sergio Tapatio. He's going to be gator hunting that night, so let's go. But yeah, shouts out to those guys, man. You know, iron sharpens iron, and without all these great coaches behind me, all these great schools, and all these great people just helping me, I wouldn't be the fighter that I am today. So shouts out to them. And final shouts out to my sponsors, OTM Fight Shop. They're always hooking me up with the gear. If you guys are in Orange County or in Huntington Beach, look them up. And Contenders Clothing Company. They hook me up with all my briefs and all my walkout shirts and stuff like that. They're another great clothing company, so look them up too, guys. Contenders Clothing Company.
And that's all from me, guys. You can follow me on my social media at adam.araby, ADAM_ARABY. And thank you as I journey in and to become more of a connoisseur of this fight life. And thank you for your time, sir.